a truth that shakes faith. One of the most profound questions that each person should ask themselves at least once in their life is this: is what I believe actually true? Faith, whether in religion, philosophy, or personal values, plays a fundamental role in shaping the way we perceive the world and navigate through our lives. It influences the decisions we make, the relationships we form, and even how we face challenges. But what if the foundation of that faith was built on misunderstandings? What if the sacred teachings that guide us, the very principles we hold dear, have been altered or misrepresented throughout history? For centuries, humans have been on a relentless search for truth, endeavoring to understand the universe, the meaning of life, and our place in the grand design of existence. This pursuit of knowledge has led to incredible discoveries and a deeper understanding of the world. But what if, in our quest for truth, we failed to realize that much of what we believe to be true might have been distorted over time, intentionally or unintentionally? The question we now face is not just a philosophical one, but a matter of historical significance. Today, we delve into one of the greatest mysteries that has shaped humanity's spiritual journey: the mistranslations of the Bible. Over centuries, these mistranslations have impacted how billions of people around the world understand their faith and spiritual beliefs. Concepts that we have long believed to be clear and unchangeable, such as heaven, hell, salvation, and even the nature of God, may not be what we thought they were. What if key aspects of these sacred texts have been altered over time, changing the way we interpret them today? And if these ancient scriptures have been misunderstood or intentionally mistranslated, do we have the courage to face the truth? Are we ready to question the very beliefs that have shaped our lives for centuries? Join me as we embark on this deep dive into one of the most intriguing investigations of our time. In this video, we will explore 3 of the most significant translation errors in the Bible that have had a profound impact on how humanity has understood and interpreted these sacred texts. These errors have not only changed the way we view religious teachings, but they have also influenced our values, ethics, and worldviews. But don't just take my word for it. Watch this video until the very end, because only by fully exploring the entire story will you begin to uncover the hidden mysteries and truths that have been buried within these ancient scriptures for thousands of years. This is a journey that will challenge everything you thought you knew, and perhaps lead you to a new understanding of the Bible and your faith. Now let's join together and uncover these truths in the video titled, "Bible Translator Breaks in Tears. They Lied to Us for 2,000 Years. When Words Can Change." A civilization language is a double-edged sword. It can be a powerful tool for deep understanding, but it can also be twisted to serve certain agendas. A single mistranslated word, a misunderstood phrase, can steer an entire civilization in a completely different direction. And when this happens to a sacred text like the Bible, the consequences can last for millennia. Imagine a simple scenario. An ancient king writes his will, stating that his throne should be passed on to the greatest of my sons. But when translated into another language, the word greatest is misinterpreted as eldest. The result? The firstborn son ascends to the throne, even if he is not the most capable. A small linguistic mistake, but its consequences change the course of an entire kingdom. The same has happened with the Bible. Many original words held multiple layers of meaning, but over centuries of translation, they have been simplified, misunderstood, or even intentionally altered. These changes have not only distorted individual passages, but have also profoundly shaped how the world perceives religion, morality, and even the nature of God. A concrete historical example. During the Middle Ages, certain Bible translations were deliberately adjusted to reinforce the authority of the church and monarchy. Words related to freedom, equality, or direct access to divine wisdom were altered, making people believe that only the church had the right to interpret God's word. This allowed religious institutions to maintain control over society for centuries. So, what are the most serious mistranslations? In the next section, we will explore 3 of the most shocking translation errors in biblical history, errors that have completely reshaped our understanding of heaven, hell, and the true nature of humanity. Hell, from a burning trash pit to humanity's greatest fear. Did you know that the idea of a fiery hell, where souls are eternally tortured, does not actually exist in the original Bible? If you ask anyone today about hell, they will likely describe a place of blazing fire, demons torturing the damned, and eternal suffering. But this image does not come from the original Bible. It is the result of centuries of mistranslation and influences from ancient mythology. The story of Gehenna, the truth that was distorted. Let's travel back over 2,500 years. South of Jerusalem, there was a place called the Valley of Hinnom, also known as Gehenna. This was once a site of horror, where the ancient Canaanites performed child sacrifices to the god Moloch by burning infants alive. It was a terrifying and brutal practice. When King Josiah came to power, he abolished this ritual and turned Gehenna into a garbage dump. In this valley, waste and animal carcasses were burned continuously to prevent disease. The rising smoke and ever-burning flames made it a cursed and forsaken place. The Jews of that time did not see Gehenna as an afterlife realm. It was simply a place of destruction. How Gehenna became hell, a translation. Deception. Jesus frequently mentioned Gehenna in his teachings, but he never described it as a supernatural hell. He used it as a powerful visual metaphor for destruction and purification. However, through various Bible translations, the term Gehenna was completely transformed. In Greek translations, it was equated with Hades, the underworld in Greek mythology. In the Latin Vulgate, it became infernum, aligning it with the Roman concept of hell. In English translations, infernum became hell, influenced by Norse mythology's Helheim, the realm of the dead. This transformation did not just distort the original meaning. It created an entirely new belief system, one where hell became an eternal realm of torment, a concept that never existed in the original Bible. The fear of hell, a tool of control. Once the idea of eternal hell took hold, it became a powerful tool of control, especially during the Middle Ages. Anyone who disobeyed church law was threatened with eternal damnation, ensuring absolute obedience. The selling of indulgences became a profitable business. The church claimed that people could pay to have their sins forgiven and avoid hell. Hell's imagery flourished in art and literature, most famously in Dante's Inferno, which depicted a 9-layered hell full of grotesque punishments. Over time, the fear of hell became an invisible weapon used to shape human behavior. But when we return to the original scriptures, we see that this concept was never part of Jesus' true message. Are we ready to face this truth? In the next section, we will uncover another major translation error that changed humanity's entire understanding of the Virgin Mary and her purity. The Virgin, a translation that changed Christian doctrine. Since ancient times, the image of the Virgin has held profound meaning across cultures and religions. But have you ever wondered if the idea of the Virgin Mary actually comes from the original Bible? In the original Hebrew text, the word almah does not mean virgin. It simply refers to a young woman. However, when the Septuagint, the Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible, was created, this word was translated as parthenos, which explicitly means virgin. This small change may seem insignificant, but it became the foundation for one of Christianity's most important doctrines, the perpetual virginity of Mary. But can a single translation shift change an entire religion? The answer is yes. How a simple word change shaped Christian beliefs. At the time of Jesus' birth, Jewish society did not hold virginity in the same sacred regard as we do today. Marriage and childbirth were considered essential responsibilities, and virginity was not a prerequisite for holiness. However, as Christianity spread into Greek and Roman cultures, where virginity was seen as a symbol of purity and divinity, perspectives began to change. In Greek mythology, goddesses like Athena and Artemis were revered as eternal virgins. In Roman religion, the Vestal virgins had to remain chaste to preserve the sacred fire of Vesta. In Hinduism, goddesses like Kali and Durga also embody virginity as a form of spiritual power. As Christianity absorbed these cultural influences, the image of Mary was redefined. Instead of being simply a chosen mother, she became the ever-virgin mother, a figure untouched by earthly desires. The virgin in modern society, a symbol or a burden. Even today, the concept of the virgin remains a controversial social standard. In some Islamic countries, women are still subjected to virginity tests before marriage, and losing purity can lead to severe consequences. In conservative Christian communities, there is still pressure for women to maintain virginity, causing guilt and shame. In many Asian cultures, virginity before marriage is still valued, despite growing societal changes. But is this truly what the Bible intended to teach? The real issue, it's not about whether Mary was a virgin. Looking at translation history, the key issue is not whether Mary was actually a virgin, but rather realizing how a simple word change has shaped an entire religious doctrine. Mary's significance does not need to be tied to virginity for her to be a symbol of compassion and sacrifice. The fact that a mistranslation has altered core Christian beliefs raises the question of what else has been changed over time. If one mistranslation could change an entire doctrine, what other distortions might we still be unaware of? In the next section, we will uncover how a single phrase in the Bible was manipulated to reinforce the power of the church and the ruling elite, forever changing how humanity perceives its relationship with God. The image of God, a tool for power and control. Since the dawn of civilization, humanity has pondered one question: what does God look like? When the Bible states that man was created in the image of God, it was meant to be a revolutionary idea, a declaration that all people are equal, regardless of status or wealth. However, over centuries, this phrase was reinterpreted and manipulated to serve those in power. Instead of meaning that all humans reflect divine qualities, it became a tool to justify feudalism, church authority, and even religious wars. From imago Dei to a social control mechanism. The phrase imago Dei, in Hebrew, B'Tselem Elohim, does not refer to physical appearance, but rather divine qualities, intelligence, creativity, morality, and compassion. However, in ancient civilizations like Egypt, Babylon, and Rome, the image of God was reserved only for rulers. Pharaohs and emperors declared themselves divine representatives, solidifying their absolute power and ensuring obedience. The medieval church adopted the same approach. In feudal Europe, kings and popes were seen as God's direct representatives on earth, leading to three major consequences. Social class divisions. If kings and nobles reflected God's image more clearly, then peasants, the poor, and women were seen as lesser beings. The church taught that social hierarchy was divinely ordained and that poverty was part of God's will. The justification of absolute monarchies. The doctrine of the divine right of kings stated that rulers were chosen by God making any opposition a rebellion against God Himself. Dissenters were often executed as heretics. The Crusades and God's will. The Church used the image of God to justify the Crusades, claiming that non-Christians did not bear God's image and were therefore expendable. Millions died in religious wars that were fueled by a mistranslation of a single biblical phrase. Reevaluating the image of God in modern society. Even today, this concept still influences society. In politics, leaders often claim they are chosen by God to rule. In culture, God is frequently depicted as a white male, reinforcing racial and social biases. In society, some people still believe that certain groups are closer to God than others. But is this truly what the Bible intended? The truth is that every human being reflects God's qualities, regardless of status, race, or gender. God is not seen only in rulers or religious figures, but in every act of kindness, every word of love, every compassionate heart. The real question is, do we have the courage to re-examine our beliefs in light of the truth? In the next section, we will explore if these mistranslations have reshaped our entire faith, what other hidden truths remain undiscovered? The final lessons, truth and faith in the modern world. The truth is not always easy to accept. When we discover that certain beliefs have been distorted over time, it can be shocking, unsettling, even confusing. But remember, truth does not weaken faith, it strengthens it. Religion is not just what we are taught, it is also what we explore, question, and seek to understand for ourselves. Looking back at what we uncovered in this video, the concept of hell changed from a burning trash pit in Jerusalem to an eternal place of torment used to control people. A mistranslation of the Virgin altered our perception of Mary and women in religious history. The image of God was manipulated to justify feudalism and religious wars. So what can we learn from these mistranslations? 1. Learn to question. Don't be afraid of doubt. There is a false belief that faith and doubt cannot coexist. But in reality, the strongest believers are not those who follow blindly, but those who dare to ask questions. God is not afraid of truth. If our faith is strong, it will not break just because we seek deeper understanding. In fact, questioning can lead to an even deeper, more meaningful relationship with God. In today's world, critical thinking and open-minded exploration are crucial. Why do we question science, history, and politics, but hesitate to question religion? Be brave enough to explore, because true faith is not built on mistranslations. It is built on love, compassion, and wisdom. 2. Religion should never be a tool for control. Throughout history, religion has been used to maintain power. From the Crusades to feudal monarchies to the fear of hell, many institutions have used faith as a weapon rather than a source of guidance. Even today, some leaders use religion to divide instead of unite, to manipulate instead of enlighten. But is that truly what God wants? Or does He want us to live with love, kindness, and a deeper understanding of our faith? 3. Faith should bring people together, not divide them. Religion, when understood correctly, should not separate us. It should bring us closer together. Instead of arguing over who is right and who is wrong, we should focus on the universal truths shared by all faiths: kindness and generosity, respect for others, even if they believe differently, the humility to admit that we don't have all the answers. Thank you for taking this journey with us. We encourage you to continue seeking, continue questioning, and continue living with true faith, not just what others tell you to believe. And most importantly, share this video with others who are searching for the truth.